All right, I'm fixed my hair a little bit.
Oh, it's recording. It's not live though. I can cut it. It looks great. It looks sexy. All right.
Okay,
So
good.
we're talking about sex robots, but the male sex robots.
Yeah, so we've done a couple of videos or a couple of talks on female sex robots, but now we're hearing that there's actually a male sex robot too.
Yeah, we're gonna go after the feminists today, so get ready to get the feminists on our butt now.
Now, well, I don't understand. So who wants this male sex robot? Who's buying this? Is this going to be, I don't even know. Like, I haven't really seen a big market for that yet. A lot of people talking about it, but I'm sure
it can be anybody, men or women.
Right. And I swear, like, when we're talking about the female sex robots, a lot of the guys that were jumping on our case were like, oh, but women use sex toys and things like that. And we were like, well, yeah, but it's a little different. Because it's not like it's pretending to be an entire human being. Yeah. So it's not a full artificial intelligence. But at the same time, we were both like, well, we don't use any of that stuff. And we're not really fans of any of that. You know, just for...
we like real men. Real men. Like meat and flesh. And the men's skin. We're like, ew, it's going to be like rubber, like silicone skin.
Right. What is it? Yeah, exactly. Is it like latex or something like that? Like, what's it going to be?
It's going to have hairs on it. Like, don't you just like rubbing a man and like looking at his hairs is like the hairiness and like.
No, I've always like, you know, I've been with my husband for 16 years, and I've always been like, I love the way you smell. Like, I've always told him that.
The man smell.
You know, I love it, and you know,
like even if a man is wearing cologne, you can still smell like the masculine musk like on a man.
The musk, exactly. I know, right? Like, it's like there's something about that muskiness, like that's really wonderful. But I mean, he was.
You can get that out of a robot. That's gross, dude. But it's gonna smell like oil-based fucking musk.
Yeah, like is it gonna smell like rubber and computer parts? Like there's wires and like things and Wi-Fi. Does it get Wi-Fi? Does it like, you know what I mean? Like,
can you hack it and like make somebody like, you know, attack them or abuse them sexually?
Right. And
we were talking about the roaches, how roaches like to live in electronic things, like
exactly.
You're having sex with a robot and then like you want to kiss it and then like roaches crawl out.
Well, you better keep it really, really clean. You better make sure that there's no roaches. But I mean, they live in technology. Bugs just do that. It's like there's phenomena where that's one of the places they like to habitat. So I don't know. To me, it's just I don't like sex toys. I don't like any of that stuff really because I think it desensitizes us to the real thing.
Does it ejaculate oil?
Does it? Like this, like, you know, and then so they were saying that.
What does MLK think about this? I don't know.
What?
Never mind. I said, what about Martin Luther King? I really think about them, like some of these. I mean, I'm getting a little silly, but I also think about some of these people that are like dead, like, you know, Gandhi and Martin Luther King and people that, you know, have this legacy of fighting for human rights and stuff, and now we're turning to this. Like, I wonder what they would think.
Well, I know, right? I mean, I wonder what they would think too. And it's kind of like, it seems like everybody's so afraid of human contact now, and that there's this just, you know, everyone's afraid of getting hurt. And there's so much anger, and, you know, I mean, I feel like
male and female sides.
Yeah, there's so much anger at the other sex. Like, men are so mad at women, and women are so mad at men. It's like,
oh, sorry.
Huh?
Go on, and then I keep cutting you off. Go on, and then I'll tell you after. You said men are mad at women are mad at men, and mad at each other. Yes.
Yeah, they're so mad that they're saying, well, we need to have robots. Robots is better than the real thing. And I'm like, well, I mean, the robot is not going to really love you back. I mean, that's the thing that I find really strange. So, like, the sex toy thing is a little bit different because you're not kidding yourself that this is a full human being. Yeah. You know, you're just using it for pleasure. But I can't say that I really like sex toys either. I think that whole idea is, like, I've never used it in my entire life, you guys. Never, ever, 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 swear. And so, not even a cucumber, not even a real organic thing. I will not put anything, you know, I try to be as organic as possible in every part of my lifestyle. So, but even that I haven't tried, you know, and I'm not down on it. But but I mean, I don't judge anybody. I don't, you know, think that it's wrong necessarily in a moral level. I just wonder how I just don't, I think it's desensitizing you to the real thing, and I just want,
Yeah.
I just, I want to be, I mean, I don't know, like I said, I've been with my husband for 16 years. I don't need that. I have, not to get into too much detail, but
I don't judge people either, but I think the whole sex robot thing is just, I don't know, it makes me kind of sad too.
Me too.
About, like how people, I'm laughing about it, but I'm laughing because now that I think about it, and I'm like, wow, like, because people, even, you can, I think as much as people want to, like, act all tough, like they don't need anybody, everybody wants love, needs love, deserves to be loved, and they think they're going to find it in these sex robots, but it's not love.
It's not the real thing. It's going to be, how can it be? It's artificial intelligence. It's not real. Like, I'm, and a lot of the people who've been commenting on our videos are like, oh, you guys are just threatened because women are becoming extinct because we're going to have these sex robots. And it's like, and they have artificial wombs and stuff. And I'm just like, it's not, I'm not threatened by it personally because, I've already had my kids. I already have my man. I don't, it's nothing to do with that. But as humanity, I'm threatened by the whole idea of transhumanism and artificial intelligence because I feel like it's just, I don't know.
It's ending humanity. But I think there are people that just don't like human beings. Like maybe they had bad experiences with humanity, or have seen a really dark side of humanity, and that for them that's maybe a good thing because they're just like, oh, humans are bad people, and I met quite a few vegans like that. That they hate humans and they want all the humans to die and just basically the animals to live. Or. I'm not ragging on vegans. I'm just saying, like, that's an example. I know not all vegans think that way, but the people that just don't, they're misanthropes. They don't like human beings, so it's good for them. So, yeah, I don't get threatened personally, but they're like, oh, women we don't need you. I'm like, yeah, I don't want you. Like I'm gonna date you. Like, oh, where are the detail at? Please bring them to me. Oh man, I'm so offended that.
Right.
And then I have a ton of guy friends. Like I've had more male friends in my life than female friends, and I've been talking to them about some of this stuff, and they're like, the what, the who, and then some people know about the MGTOW, they're like, yeah, that's like, we can actually come to uncommon ground. We can talk about like how the court system is really unfair. It's very biased. A lot of things are biased against men and toward the women, and women know that, and they use that. And and I've talked about how I don't agree with women doing that. I think that's evil. I think they're evil women. I've had a few friends that have been baby trapped and manipulated, and like women aren't innocent either. Women are physically abusive as well too, but it's just a lot of men don't talk about it. A, because they're embarrassed, and B, it's like I knew somebody that was being physically abused by his girlfriend. And the cops, somebody like the neighbors or the finally called the cops, and he was trying to restrain her, and she had bruises on her for him trying to restrain her, and he got in trouble. But she's picking at stuff like like brooms and like one of those things you push the pool balls together, like one of those sticks. Like she's giving beats, like bit a chunk out of his arm, like crazy women, like.
Yeah, there are chicks who are really violent.
Huh? Yeah, but I've even had a couple. They've never no girls put their hand on me, but I've had a couple of female friends that were verbally abusive toward me as another female friend, and I knew that they treated men like shit. And I had one of my guy friends. I had a party and one of my birthdays, and one of my guy friends was interested in dating her. And I had to go back to him, and I'd be like, don't date her. I'm not friends with the girl, by the way, anymore anyway, because then I was like, okay, well, if I'm telling my friend not to date her, then why am I friends with her? Why would I want one of my friends to date? And I was just like, I just knew, like, she treated men like shit. And, probably abused by men herself, but it's just this cycle that goes on. It's like men are abused by women, then they abuse women. Then women that were abused by the men, they hate men. And then the cycle continues. Have you seen that woman that was she was talking about you just need to kill all men? Have you seen that? Yeah, she's just like, yeah, all men just need to die. You just need to kill. I was like, dang, that's crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, how do you? I just love men. Like, I just love men as people, as, like, sexual beings, the energy, the yang, I love women, too. I do. I feel like I've actually, as I've gotten older, I've learned to love, I mean, you're one of my oldest friends. I have another couple girlfriends that I've known since I was a kid. But for the most part, I've always had a hard time fitting in with other women because of the pettiness and because, you know, they can be very abusive, and I feel like growing up in Hollywood and LA, there are a lot of women that are like that because they can get away with what the shit they get away with because they're pretty.
Well, yeah, and you know, I felt like
but you know what? There are men that put up with it. You know, because I was listening. I just want to say this one thing. I was listening to a Bill Burr video, and you know how he has this call-in where people call in and they tell him they tell him his problems and gives him advice, like, right? So this guy wrote to him and he said, "Yeah, help, my girlfriend is blackmailing me," and basically he said that his girlfriend and him were having sex, and then she wanted to turn on this like anime porn that was really vulgar, and he wasn't into it. Yeah. He was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird," and then he said she started crying. It was like, "You're not, like, open-minded," and stuff like that. He's like, "Yeah, like, and he broke up with her. So then she started telling everybody at his college that he was the one that did it. But then she was like, "Oh, well, if you get back with me, then I'll stop telling people." But then all his friends were like, "Oh man, you should just get back to her because she's really hot." I'm like, wow, like, okay, so, but she's crazy. She's crazy. Right. That's just, he's lucky he escaped. I hope he didn't get back with her.
He's lucky he got away from, you know, anime porn.
Before he brought kids into that? Oh my God.
And I think she was blackmailing him to get back together with her, right? Because
of the, who would do, like, what?
And then Bill Burr advised her to, like, record it, to record the conversation, and just, you know, and then just be like, you know, if you mess with me again, then I'm gonna expose you. But it's just like, I feel like there's just a lot of mental.
Expose her anyway. That's crazy. But
there's just a lot of trauma. You know?
We live in a society, though, too. You have to admit this for men and women, where looks matter.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was really horribly, wretchedly ugly and awkward when I was a kid. And now I'm not. I've kind of blossomed. And I notice the attention that I get. It's a huge improvement. You know?
Right.
No, but I mean, like, you're going to tell me that doesn't matter? Like, you're like, I'm the first person that would tell you that I've experienced on both ends that it matters. And even when I was, like, horribly, wretchedly ugly and awkward, I wasn't going for the dude that was like 400 pounds with the pimples. I was going for the quote-unquote hot guy. Like, I was gawking over him. Whoever the hot guy was at the moment. I didn't, want that dude. I was like, damn, I want the hot guy. You know? So, I find it really hypocritical that people that get mad over that, like, they have to be honest about, like, themselves. Because I never see the people that are awkward going after really ugly or obsessing or infatuated with other awkward people.
Right.
It's always, you know, so we do have this thing, biological,
Are any of these sex dolls going to come out and be like 400 pounds and pimpled and anything like that? I doubt it, you know?
Right?
I mean,
you
know, male and female.
It's like a Ken doll. It's gross. It's like a Ken doll. Oh my God.
It's so, I cannot.
I cannot look in their eyes when you're being intimate with them. Like, how do you capture that in a robot? How do you?
You cannot, and it's just gonna.
I'm just so grossed.
You're gonna be just fooling yourself that, you know. And I don't know. I find it's gonna be weird. I don't know what's gonna happen because there's a lot of people who've come to us and said that they're into it. You know, that they're looking forward to this and that they're looking forward to the artificial womb. And I'm like, you're gonna have this babies made by artificial women. Like, how's that baby gonna turn out? You know, and it's like
these two extremes of the men haters and the men haters and the women haters. Like, aren't they just gonna like die out because they're not gonna procreate?
Well, that's the thing is, like, do they really think that those babies are gonna turn out okay? You know, and it's like, and we're already going into this whole science fiction thing where it's real, you know, it's really happening. These designer babies that are being genetically engineered in utero to like have change the outcome of the sex, change the color of the eyes, change all this kinds of stuff. And then, you know, I mean, and as we know, we follow the trends in the vaccine science. And so they're coming out with, you know, smart vaccines and smart drugs that are designed to genetically engineer and do all these kinds of things and go. So it's like we're just really getting way overboard with
Anybody
trying to.
that falls for these smart vaccines, they're suckers. I'm sorry. Like, why would you trust?
Well, I mean, we might not have a choice.
People that have lied to you for years and years and years. You know,
yeah.
Like, I can't, like, they're going to agree, like, I know there are people that are going to be like, oh, well, the vaccine, like, I can't even, like, I'm sorry, like, I can't even, I've been trying to be patient, but I can't even, like, hang with the green the vaccines people. Like, I can't.
No, me neither.
Like,
I can't,
you know. Only, like, it doesn't work because they need the aluminum to create as an adjuvant to create the extra antibodies, and they haven't figured out how to do that. But just the fact that these people have lied to you, they, you know, hundreds of thousands of people now have come out and said that vaccines has caused their child brain damage, autism, all this stuff, and they keep saying, oh no, they're delusional, they're making stuff up. They're just angry parents. They need somebody to be mad at. They don't know what they're talking about, right? They're doing.
And they have yet to show that they're effective. They have yet to prove that they even work in the first place, and they have yet to prove anything that they can acquire herd immunity through vaccination. They can't acquire any of that stuff. You know, I like Forrest Moretti gave me a term called "going ugly early." You know, if anyone checks out Forrest Moretti's work, he's great. And he said, just go ugly early and just let everybody know you're anti-vax. Like, you know, why take that middle of the road? Because there really isn't anything. There isn't any real pro. The only pro is to be in compliance. That's the only pro. It's like you just don't want to make waves, and that's the best you can get, you know. And other than that, there's nothing to them. There's nothing that you're going to get in a positive outcome other than the fact that you're in compliance with, you know, whatever. So whatever mandates you're getting involved in. So that's where people might not have a choice whether or not to get on board with these vaccines because they're gonna just keep mandating them and keep making stricter and stricter mandates on them.
But
so I don't know.
Wake people up too. They're like, why are you forcing me to take a vaccine?
Yeah.
Why are you like? You know,
right. Exactly.
Mike Adams brought this up, but I thought about it before he brought it up. He was talking about that we've been on, you know, according to modern anthropologists, we've been on this earth for 200,000 years. Yet vaccines have only been around for the last 200. How do we survive all the way up until then without vaccines?
Right, and then, you know,
like,
the argument
that sliver compared to the, you know, the amount of years. I'm sorry, go on.
Well, the argument that they've eradicated all these diseases when, you know, but diseases, as we know, there's been several diseases that have been eradicated before there even was a creation of vaccine. So what happens is in natural immunity, you pass that on to your offspring. But that doesn't occur with vaccines, so then you become dependent on that system, you know, to develop an antibody response. And then even if you get an antibody response, they admit that they don't last more than 10 years. But an antibody response
the titers keep going down too, so you have to keep like they go down lower than the time that they were. So if your titers are here and then you get a shot, they go here, and then they go down, they go below that. So you have to bring them up, and then they get more, and then they go even lower than that. So it's like you're just always going to be playing that game, like trying to, you know, chase after this immunity, and rather than just, you know, so you're not going to avoid disease or pathogens in the environment, no matter how many vaccines they create. And there's a ton of things out there there's no vaccines for that we never hear about in the news. We only hear about things that there's supposedly that there's a vaccine for. You know, we only hear about outbreaks, and then they blame it on the vaccinated when it's almost entirely vaccinated people that get these diseases, that get the measles, that get pertussis, that get all this stuff. So and
it's just
you're looking at inserts, like the MMR insert says it sheds it for up to 90 days, and there's that what do you call it? It was an article that it was mainstream media. And the guy had poliovirus, and he shed it for like 30 years.
Oh my god!
You haven't seen that? I'm gonna send it to you. Maybe.
Oh, he shed it for 30 years.
Yeah,
that's
30
crazy.
years. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's just nuts. But yeah, it's just. Go ahead.
No, they're liars. They're liars, and they're manipulators, and they've lied to not only lay people but doctors. And I kind of have a love-hate relationship with doctors, but I keep thinking about like. I thought about, before I discovered the arts, I wanted to be like a doctor because I had a close relationship with my doctor. My dad was a science nerd, and I like my science teacher, and I still to this day love science. But I just thought, had I gone that route, I would be devastated. Like, just imagine you're going to help people, but you're turned into a pimp and you're actually killing people. And I don't know if you know about that guy, Z-Dog. Oh, I want to rip him up. I can't stand him, but I showed you that video, the guy with the last video he did with he had clouds in back of him, and he was dressed like an angel doctor or whatever. And
oh, yeah.
And it's funny, and he was being sarcastic, but if you watch the video, he actually is telling the truth. Saying, oh, I'm sorry, I've been poisoning my patients all of this time. I wish I knew. I was like, yeah, but you wish you knew too. A lot of people wish you knew. I wish.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish.
Why do you wish you do?
Yeah, like I think that I'm curious if anybody is going to challenge the medical schools and the pharmaceutical industry from a student's point of view that went there. Like if there could be, and I've been trying to throw this idea out there because I can't really do anything about it, but I have never heard anybody bring this up about, like, I really feel that once this stuff starts to come up more and more, that the medical schools need to be sued. And I think doctors should be given debt forgiveness. And they should be giving, they should be given time and I guess they can't get the time back, but money back for basically training them to be killers and pimps. And it's unreal, and these doctors are scared because they can't even think critically about it, because not only are they afraid for their careers, but they're afraid because of the debt that they're in. It's just...
Well, yeah, I mean, when we interviewed Wakefield and we asked him about, how this felt and was he angry about that, and he said that he was angry at first when they went after him and attacked him, but then eventually he realized, not to take it personal because he was just made an example of. So I think, given that example, a lot of people are going to be afraid to question it. A lot of doctors who do see the pattern and do start to wonder whether or not these things are causing these problems, they're scared. And even, doctors who don't come out as totally anti-vax, but are compassionate to the vaccine injured, or will actually, take the time to listen to parents and things like that, like Dr. Sears and stuff, even they are under attack as well. He's looking at parents, offering medical exemptions to families who don't want to don't want to have their kids vaccinated in order to send them to school. So they have valid medical reasons, like, a predisposed immune disorder or asthma, allergies, things like that. And so they're getting, and then he's being called out, as somebody who is a negligent doctor. He's giving it away too easily, and he's doing it for money, and so on and so forth. And it's really, he's doing it for money? He stands to make a lot more from the people that,
Yeah, no, that cracks me up when people say that. I've seen YouTube videos and articles, people saying, oh, it's the alternative community that's doing it for money because they're getting paid by parents. I'm like,
totally.
Really? Seriously? But there are people that believe that. They'll straight up say, parents paid Andrew Wakefield. So I'm like, how much did they pay him?
Right, exactly. What's the sum? Yeah.
While the pharmaceutical industry, did they pay him billions and billions of dollars like the pharmaceutical industry makes? Just off the vaccines alone, not counting the side effects. Yeah,
I know. And it's the thing, and then what they don't know too is how doctors are actually getting paid incentives from some of the insurance companies. They can stand to make up to about $100,000 extra a year for having a fully vaccinated office. Yeah. So, for example, if they have all their patients, up to 60-80% of their patients fully vaccinated on schedule, then each patient could be worth $200 to $400. Sometimes I think even somewhere in $600. Some are given trips to Hawaii and things like that from pharmaceutical companies for carrying their drugs and so forth. So they, and well-paid checkups.
Well, if the doctors are being brainwashed, though, to think that they're doing a good thing, to them it's just an added plus because
it's just like win-win, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's like
the incentive for them to like.
Yeah, there's no incentive to them to critically think about like, oh, maybe I'm doing doing the bad thing, or a bad thing. You know, they're like, I get a trip to Hawaii and an extra $100,000, and I'm saving lives by giving people.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right, like.
Right, and then I'm doing all this, and it's just like, and then they're in debt, right? So, like you're saying, that how they need to have that debt forgiveness, because if they're in debt and they're getting this extra $100,000, and they're like, oh, great, now I can get out of debt, now I can do all this stuff, you know, because they're just trying to like make a living as being a doctor, and then also, and they have this huge debt from all their college expenses and their medical school expenses and so forth. You know, it's just a big scam. It's just, you know,
it's a scam. It's a travesty. Like, I wouldn't want to be in any of the. I know there are quite a few doctors that commit suicide, and I wonder if this is why. The reasons we talked about, or if it's just too much pressure, or all of the above. You know, I wonder if a lot of these doctors that have killed themselves have come to the conclusion of what the racket really is about. You know, or
that's a really good point. I've never heard anyone bring that up before, but I do know that, you know, you're right. Like, it is, doctors have one of the highest suicide rates amongst them. So I mean, that's a really good question. You know,
same thing about psychiatrists. You know, like putting all these people on, you know, voting, not even like there's no objective test. It's all subjective voting. And you know, you know, you've done a lot of research on narcissism, which you've gotten from other psychologists. So you're just basically talking about their work. So my thing about psychology, I think it's valid and it's relevant. But unless you're a person going to somebody for help, trying to get help, like and you guys are both kind of working together, trying to come to a conclusion about your mental stability and where you want to be and where you want to go.
Right.
When you just start like throwing names out on people like you know, psychological names that you're pulling out of the DSM, then to me it just becomes sophisticated name calling.
Oh, totally,
you know?
totally. Yeah, just calling people narcissistic. You know, I didn't know, and I think a lot of people don't actually know that it's a genuine pathology. So when I first heard of it, I thought that it was just something that you called like a self-centered person.
Yeah,
I was like, it's just a self-centered person. Yeah, I think most people think that. They say, oh, this person's a narcissist, this person's a narcissist, because they come out as boastful and kind of like, you know, and they don't really know that it's actually a pathology, and it's pretty serious, and it's hardcore pathology, and it wreaks a lot of havoc, you know, but you know, I don't think a lot of people know that it is sophisticated, just name calling, labeling people, writing them off as crazy, writing them off as having some kind of mental delusion or something like that. It's just a way to like throw things out there, and it's, you know, and it's gotten really bad, and it sort of prostitutes the meaning of these words, makes them like lose their value, you know. So
did you see? There's SciShow did a psychological profile called The Science of Anti-Vaccination, where the Hank guy, he basically tries to tell people why anti-vaxxers think the way that they think. So there's no proof, no studies, he says it like, but he's just basically psychologically analyzing or sophisticatedly name calling people that don't vaccinate, saying that, you know, it has to do with like their cognitive dissonance, and pulling words out like, what do they like to say, oppositional defiant disorder, or Dunning-Kruger effect, and all that shit.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And then, which blew my mind. Which I think I'm gonna use in video that I'm making and working on right now. But he said that parents that think about vaccinating their kids are 8 times less likely to vaccinate their kids.
Yeah.
So, like, what? So basically,
the ones who actually think about
it. So if parents don't think about vaccinating their kids and they just do it, they're more likely to vaccinate. So just don't get them to think about it. He literally, I'm paraphrasing.
Right, exactly.
And then paraphrasing, but he said that basically. So I'm watching this, knowing that it's propaganda, knowing that if you're not aware of this, it's just going completely over your head. And basically, he's just saying, listen to the doctors without any proof, right? And then
without thinking about it,
without any proof, without thinking about it, just don't think about it. Listen to us. So what does that say if they think about it and they do their own research? He said basically parents that research vaccines are 8 times less likely to do so. Well, duh. You know?
Yeah.
And 8 times, even if it was like twice as less likely, you know, 2 times as likely, that's still pretty high. But 8 times? Wow. Wow.
They're about to think about it because they're like, you know, they're looking into it. They're thinking about it. They're looking into. They're not just thinking about it. They're probably researching it.
And you know,
they're researching it, and they're going, wait a minute, you know.
They act like doctors and scientists aren't parents either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're either a parent or you're a doctor. You can't be both.
No, but there's like a lot of there's you know,
doctors and scientists who've gotten burned, and this is why they're speaking out. Like Marcella's a scientist for Vax Truth. You know, her daughter got injured, and then I was looking at another guy. I can't think of his name, but his daughter got injured by the Gardasil vaccine. He had no idea. Poor guy, you know.
Almost all the parents, almost all the doctors that are working with the kids with autism stuff have vaccine-injured children, and that's how they learned about it. You know, it's almost everybody. You know, Dr. Brian Jetson wrote a book, same thing.
Oh, so there's another layer to it. Because if you're a doctor that's in debt and you have an autistic child, you have a vaccine-injured child, the money that you're spending to take care of that child, oh my God.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
God.
You know,
it's such a racket.
Yeah,
it's such. I'm so blessed I didn't. I mean, I think, you know, I would have now been like a chiropractor or a homeopath. And it's so funny, too, these science people, they make fun of, like, the homeopaths and the chiropractors. So I'm like, they cure more people. They're actually healing people.
I went to a chiropractor for bad back, and it was fabulous. I mean, so I don't know.
It's not even just bad backs. Like, they know about allergies, and they study anatomy, too. So it's not like they're just cracking your back.
They go to medical school. They go to medical school. Chiropractors do. You know, they don't. Yeah, I mean, they don't have an MD, but they do. They go through the same studies. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You think what?
Oh, I think it's about time for me to wrap it up. I don't know.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I was about to say so too. Wrap it up.
Okay, great.
I'm glad we did this show. Yes, we both are busy.
Peace, truth, and love, everybody. Follow us on Steemit. We got a Steemit account now. So
Steemit, yeah.
Blockchain. You know, hit us up on the blockchain. We're all about that.
Even though we're getting like a lot of Facebook followings and stuff because Facebook's shady, we're slowly like trying to creep away. It's creepy because we're all interconnected, and Facebook is still a good platform because it still reaches a lot of people. But just we're slowly, you know, it's like weaning off a drug. Like getting off the drug.
That's a good analogy, totally.
Yeah, you know, like we can't just break free like, you know, fast. I think I made a video about breaking free and then I was like, okay, well, you know.
Yeah, not yet, not ready.
Not yet.
Yeah, but we'll put back in
we haven't forgot about it and we're still making our way off
No, but we are on the blockchain. You can follow us on Steemit and, you know, and go to our website at truthtalk.com. Peace, truth, and love.
Okay, peace, truth, and love, guys. Bye. Mwah. Wait, hold it. And